Today I'm reviewing a 2008 Subaru Forester. The Forester was introduced to the US market in 1997 and it's now in its 5th generation. This 2008 is the last year of the 2nd generation that was introduced for the 2003 model year and saw a minor refresh for the 2006 model year. The 2nd generation Forester is very similar to the 1st generation model in terms of size and design. The 1st generation was actually a huge sales success, and so Subaru was very cautious about making major changes to the vehicle so that they didn't alienate that base. In terms of the overall look of the vehicle, I am not personally all that crazy about the styling that you get in the 1st and 2nd generation Foresters. I think that the 3rd, 4th, and 5th look much better, and I've mentioned that in the past, and then I've gotten comments from viewers saying that they absolutely love the 1st and 2nd generation. So it's definitely a preferential thing, and there are those out there that really love the 1st and 2nd generation models. But despite that, what the Forester really comes down to for me in all 5 generations is function over form. And I think that you do make some sacrifices in all 5 generations in terms of styling, and as a result, the vehicle is much more practical. It's got excellent visibility, it's incredibly spacious inside, comes standard with Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive system, so it's excellent in terms of handling on snow and ice. It's actually quite fun to drive, and it's got pretty decent fuel economy as well. Now, comparing again to that 1st generation Forester, the vehicle actually decreases slightly in terms of size when compared with the 1st generation, but the interior actually expands about 3 cubic feet. So they shrink down the overall size of the vehicle, yet they somehow expand the interior. Now, the 2nd generation Forester was available in a wide range of trim packages. It actually gets a little bit complicated because they changed their designations over the years. When it first came out, it was available in an X package, an XS, and then the XT package, which has a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder turbo. And then in later years, they dropped the XS model, and then you could get various iterations of those different trim levels. So you could get, say an X package with the sports package, or you could get an XT with limited package. And so basically you had the X, the XS, and the XT, and then on top of that you could choose a premium package, a limited package, an LL Bean package, and a sports package. And what we've got here is the X sports package. And with that, we're essentially just getting a few updates to the exterior that gives the vehicle a more sporty appearance, and then a few minor changes inside as well. With the X Sports package, we get a standard set of 17-inch sport wheels, and then on the front of the vehicle, we've got a revised bumper. See, it's got this little mesh design on the sides, and then likewise, we've got a mesh grille with the sports lettering. Inside the vehicle, it comes standard with a black interior. It's got an auxiliary port for your phone or MP3 player to play audio over the vehicle audio system, and then it also comes with satellite radio. Now, in terms of styling, on the 2nd generation, as I mentioned, it's got a more rounded, contemporary look than what we saw with the 1st generation model. Again, it's very similar overall, but just a little bit more rounded, and then there's a few premium touches to give the vehicle a more modern appearance. You'll see that our mirrors have integrated side blinkers. Coming around to the front, nicely updated headlight design that's blacked out along the edges. Likewise, when we come around to the back of the vehicle, the rear hatch sees a nice update, much more contemporary look than the 1st generation. And then our taillights are likewise updated. Just as we saw in the front, they're blacked out along the edges. One thing I really like about the Forester is that because of the dimensions, because it's very square and very tall, you get massive windows. This rear window is very large. Likewise, along the side, they're very tall windows, and that translates to excellent visibility when you're driving it. So a really great vehicle in terms of being able to look out and see your surroundings. Not a lot of blind spots. Up top, you'll see we've got integrated side rails. And then along the bottom of the doors, we've got a little trim piece here that gives it a nice sporty appearance. So that's a look at the exterior of the Forester. As I mentioned, I am not personally all that crazy about these first 2 generations, but I can certainly appreciate the Forester for what it is. What it gives up in terms of styling, it really makes up for in terms of practicality. Looking inside the Forester, you'll see that the interior is nothing to get too excited about, but it's still a pretty nice overall look and layout and a very functional design. Get a pretty nice level of standard features as well. This model's got power windows, power door locks, and power mirrors. Storage space in the door here. Seats are manually operated. Nice attractive instrument cluster. we've got cruise control down below here. Center dash, we've got a clock and a storage compartment, hazard lights and a couple vents. Our audio system, which has a 6-disc CD player. It's also got AM, FM radio, satellite radio, and then we've also got an auxiliary connection. Climate control below that with heat and air conditioning. Compartment here with a 12-volt outlet and that auxiliary connection. This model is equipped with the manual transmission. Got our emergency brake, 2 cup holders, and then our center console has 2 compartments, an upper compartment and a lower compartment. Lower compartment you'll see has a 12-volt outlet. Our mirror is self-dimming and has a compass. We've also got home link with the ability to program up to 3 garage door openers. And you'll see we've got 2 reading lights and 2 more compartments. And looking into the back seat of the Forester, you'll see that it's nice and spacious. Plenty of leg, head, and shoulder room. Our center seat here folds down into an armrest. And then center console's got 2 cup holders integrated down below here. Seat backs also drop down in a 60-40 split to increase rear cargo area. And coming around to the back of the Forester, if we open up the rear hatch, you'll see that it's very spacious back here. Plenty of cargo space. This is where the square dimensions of this vehicle really pay off. And then of course, if the rear seat backs are dropped down, increases this space even further. You'll see that we've also got a 12-volt outlet over here on the passenger side. And then beneath the floorboard, we've also got some storage compartments. The second generation of the Forester was offered with 2 different engine options. This vehicle's got the base 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, which when it first came out offered 165 horsepower and 166 pound-feet of torque. In 2006, they made a few minor modifications and increased horsepower to 173. This was paired to either a 4-speed automatic for an EPA rating of 20 miles per gallon in the city and 26 miles per gallon on the highway, or a 5-speed manual, which saw a slight bump to 27 miles per gallon on the highway. 0 to 60 with that engine was about 9.6 seconds. The second generation Forester was also available with a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder turbo, which had 210 horsepower and 235 pound-feet of torque when it first came out. In 2006, horsepower increased to 230, and then oddly enough, 2007 and 2008 models see a slight drop to 224 horsepower. With that engine, it was also paired to either a 4-speed automatic for an EPA rating of 18 miles per gallon in the city and 23 miles per gallon on the highway, or a 5-speed manual for an EPA rating of 19 miles per gallon in the city and 25 miles per gallon on the highway. 0 to 60 would take you about 6.7 seconds, and max tow capacity on the Forester was 2,400 pounds. Now I don't know if it's just the manual transmission or what, but this vehicle is actually surprisingly fun to drive. And you wouldn't think with 173 horsepower and a 0 to 60 of 9.6 that it would be a fun vehicle to drive, but for whatever reason it kind of is. And maybe it's because the Boxer engine is very rev happy, so it feels like you're driving a lot faster than you are. One thing I'm not really crazy about in a lot of Subaru vehicles is that ride quality is a little bit choppy. You get a lot of wind noise. Just overall, they feel a little bit on the cheaper side. Forester actually feels somewhat decent in that sense. I mean, I wouldn't say that it has a really premium feel. Models like the Outback are going to offer a little bit better overall ride quality, but the Forester is definitely moving in that direction. It's got a nice feel with the steering, pretty good brake feel, and just overall a pretty fun vehicle to drive. And as I already mentioned, visibility is one of the real strong suits in this vehicle because it's very tall and it's got a lot of glass. 360 degrees around, you've got excellent visibility, and then we've also got really large mirrors that help with that visibility. So from just a drivability standpoint, it is certainly a very practical vehicle to drive. It's a very easy vehicle to drive, and I think that visibility would be a really strong point for people that are looking to get a vehicle for, say, a teenager that's new to driving, or maybe even an older person that just has a hard time looking out in their peripheral directions to check their blind spots. This vehicle really is easy to drive in that sense. So we'll go ahead and accelerate onto the highway here and put that 2.5 liter 4-cylinder to the test. Unfortunately, we've got a Subaru Legacy in front of us that's slowing us down, so we can't push it a little harder. But we've got a slight incline here pulling up onto the highway, and so far we're doing all right in terms of power. Okay, pulling onto the highway, we'll go ahead and do a quick downshift and move over to the left-hand lane. Hear that 4-cylinder. It's got a pretty nice rumble to it, actually. That's not something I'm used to hearing in most Subarus. Sounds all right. it's fairly smooth as you put it under a little bit of pressure as well. Yeah, not all that bad. So that's the second generation model of the Subaru Forester, an incredibly practical vehicle all around. It's very spacious inside, it's fun to drive, it's got decent fuel economy, symmetrical all-wheel drive makes it incredibly capable in snow and ice. Subarus have an excellent reputation for long-term reliability and durability, and they have some of the best resale value of any vehicle on the market. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to give me a thumbs up. For more car reviews, be sure to subscribe. In the meantime, thanks for watching.